Wake up, baby gods, it's your boy Mayan. Before doing anything, please like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. This video is a part 2 to last week's video, Top 5 UFOs in Biblical Paintings, for our UFO special before the proclaimed Area 51 raid on September 20th, which I doubt will happen. But please watch part 1 before watching this video, as I'm sure you'll be able to make better connections. Link is in the description below. Let's begin.
Number 4. Madonna with Saint Junina by Domenico Ghirlandaio, created between 1449 to 1494, and is currently held in the Hall of Hercules in the Palazzo Vecchio in Florence, Italy. In the foreground we can see Mary, baby Jesus, and Saint John, and in the background we can see a shepherd and his dog looking at some gray disc-shaped object, which once again resembles the UFOs from the blurry footage officially released by the US Pentagon in late 2017 and early 2018.
Pause. Why do we even care about paintings made by artists several hundred years ago when the Bible is thousands of years old? One way to look at it is that these artists were stylistically depicting celestial or divine objects, and there's absolutely no relevance to history. Another way to look at it is that these artists possibly saw mysterious things in the sky during their lifetime, or had access to additional source materials which inspired these mysterious depictions of the divine, which they decided to include in their artworks. You could even call them Easter eggs, the same way I try to hint at future topics in the videos I upload. Unpause.
The shepherd seems to be shielding his eyes from the light emanating from this gray object, or he is trying to focus in on an object which he is unable to identify, or both. Furthermore, the dog has its mouth open, possibly to represent it barking at some unfamiliar entity, as dogs tend to do to strangers. Normally, the divine is represented with an illuminated cloud, which we've significantly analyzed in my previous video, so it is odd that this object is not cloud-like. I would like to rule out the possibility that this object is a comet or meteor, as there is no apparent tail. I would also say it is not a star due to its gray color. Let's take a look at the biblical passage that inspires this painting. Luke 2, 8-13. And there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. And the angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. Today in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger." Suddenly, a great company of the heavenly host appeared with the angel. Maybe the shepherds were terrified because they saw some unnatural looking objects in the sky, but I'm sure seeing an angel would also be quite shocking. This passage also mentions that the heavenly host appeared. The heavenly host is a biblical term for an army of angels. Maybe this army of angels traveled in this glowing gray ship. We also have these 3 odd-looking tentacle objects in the top left of the painting. I have absolutely no idea what these are. Maybe these tentacle objects represent angels, and the gray disc is the heavenly host. This is complete speculation on my end, so the interpretation is yours. For comparison, let's look at some other renditions of this scene by different artists. Looking at these other paintings, we can see the gray disc-shaped object in the painting by Ghirlandaio is replaced with illuminated clouds and an angel. Why did Ghirlandaio depict this scene with some disc-shaped glowing metal object? As previously mentioned, maybe he saw something mysterious in the sky within his lifetime, or had access to different source materials and incorporated this object into his artwork. Of course, the simpler explanation is that this is a stylistic way to represent the Lord or the divine. There isn't much else to dive into here, so it's up to you to decide whether this is a UFO or simply a representation of the divine. Number 5. The Glorification of the Eucharist by Ventura Salimbini, created between 1568 to 1613 and held in the Church of St. Peter in Montalcino, Siena, Italy. We can see Jesus, the Lord, our friend the Holy Spirit, some people, and this shining spherical object. The ancient alien theorists will tell you that this metallic spherical object with antennas sticking out of it is definitive proof of extraterrestrial technology, as it seems to resemble the Sputnik 1. The Sputnik 1 was created by the Soviet Union and is the first human-made object successfully launched into space in 1957. Some even go on to say that this is proof that the artist Salimbini was granted a vision of the future by Jesus to see the future space satellite, while others say that Jesus himself was a time traveler who visited Salimbini and showed him a model of the Sputnik 1 to inspire this painting.
All of this sounds a little extreme. There has to be a simpler solution, right? And there is.
This metallic sphere is actually a sphere mundi, or celestial sphere, which is meant to represent the cosmos. There are many other paintings that include this celestial sphere imagery which don't look like the Sputnik 1. We can definitely see the sun and moon in the painting by Salimbini, so it is most likely a representation of the cosmos. The two antenna-looking objects are supposed to be wands and are meant to represent Jesus and the Lord's command over the universe the same way a conductor commands a choir. The ancient alien theorists will argue that the object is not a celestial sphere as it is metallic in design, and you can see this grid-like metal plating within the sphere, which skeptics argue are simply meridian lines. To rebuttal the metallic argument, the brightest side is near the sun and the darkest side is near the moon, so the sphere being a representation of the cosmos is once again reasonable. The ancient alien theorists will argue that the rods are not wands, but rather antennae as they have this retractable design. They also mention that though there's a combination of both the wand and celestial sphere imagery in other paintings, there aren't any paintings that showcase wands precisely oriented on the sphere, which makes it seem like Jesus and the Lord are tuning the frequency of this spherical device. So let's take a middle ground and dive a little deeper. The rod, or more specifically a staff, is used in the Bible to conduct acts of magic. For example, the staff of Moses is used to part the Red Sea, bring forth water from a rock, turn the Nile River into blood, sprout flowers and ripe almonds within one night, and the staff even turns into a snake. Just for fun, let's entertain the antenna hypothesis. So what is magic? Magic can be considered a very high level of energy control. Not sure how you would turn a staff into a snake unless you could rearrange the atomic structure of objects at will, so let's just define magic as the mastery of energy completed via unknown sciences. What is technology? Technology is the application of scientific knowledge to control both matter and energy. What is an antenna? An antenna is a metallic device used to either send or receive light, more often radio waves. As mentioned in the previous video, all wireless communication uses light. Furthermore, we have this glowing object called a monstrance at the bottom of this painting that most people do not focus on. A monstrance is usually made of gold with a crystal center, with many possessing rays meant to represent Jesus' light. The monstrance in the painting lacks the sun-like architecture of the monstrances that were displayed on the screen. Rather, the monstrance in the painting seems to be literally radiating light. This glow could be symbolic of the light of Jesus, but we're going to interpret this glow as a physical light for now. Gold is the world's most reliable and durable electrical conductor and is essential for computer electronics and satellite communication technologies. Furthermore, crystals absorb and transmit light, and some crystals can be used as crystal oscillators. For example, quartz crystals are used in literally all pieces of consumer devices such as clocks, radios, computers, and cell phones. Quartz can be used as an electronic oscillator circuit, which is used to create an electronic signal with a precise frequency. The frequency can be used to stabilize frequencies for radio transmitters and receivers used in wireless communication. Lastly, the Eucharist is also called the Holy Communion. So where are we going with this? Warning. Please take the following passage with a grain of salt, as I am about to utilize a large sequence of what-if statements and assumptions for fun. So what if the celestial sphere and wand imagery do indeed symbolize the Lord's ability to command the universe, but commanding the universe also means commanding energy? Specifically, the Lord could be using these antenna-like devices to tune into the appropriate frequency and command or transmit signals using the electromagnetic field or light to this gold crystalline receiver device, which is receiving the radio transmission from these antenna emitters. Could the gold crystal receiver device be glowing to represent a successful connection and reception of the light signal from the antenna emitter, the same way our phones blink a certain color when we successfully receive a message? The Holy Communion could literally mean a direct communication with other beings using long-lost ancient technologies that the painter may or may not seen within his lifetime.
Of course, everything I just mentioned is definitely a stretch with far too many assumptions, and it makes much more sense for this painting to be another representation of a celestial sphere. But while researching this painting, I went down the rabbit hole and thought it would be fun to share this theory I made up with y'all. So don't take it too seriously.
The purpose of this channel is to make you think and hopefully trigger you to do your own research. So here's one last bonus painting. We can see Jesus, some angels, and some mysterious people flying some crafts. This definitely looks mysterious, but I can assure you that there is a logical explanation for this photo. But I'll let you figure that out on your own.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. New video coming next week, but till then, stay woke, baby gods.